Ramu was like, Raveena, I close my eyes and I can see you do Akhiyon se goli mare. This is exactly what he did. He said, I close my eyes and that's all I see you do. For me, I think what worked for me was the fact that I experimented. Justice happens in this life itself. It's not that we are waiting to die and go to hell or heaven. Something तेरे भाई से डरता हूँ. That was that instant. मैं बहुत tempt हो रही हूँ तभी से करने के लिए. Sorry.
For all film-related interviews, reviews, and content, please like and subscribe to Pooja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram.
Karma Talwar meet Pooja Talwar.
Wow,
you don't mess around with the Talwar girls,
no,
right?
you cannot.
No wonder you guys were pink together.
It would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we could basically sort out karmas with the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think we should look
really
into this.
Scared now.
You guys look like you're in one team. You both are wearing pink.
But scared, Raveena, we need to be scared of you. Don't mess around with a woman like Indrani at all.
At all, honey.
But I mean, it's really interesting the way you're exploring these shades of grey, which you started off back. I think abhi kitne saal ho gaye, I'll have to go back in time.
But let's not remind people about the year.
Exactly. But you know, it's somewhere also very liberating because antagonists, as they say, have their own story. They have their own graph. So I know you did say that it was 10 years ago she came to you.
Yes.
Why finally things just fell in place?
You know, honestly, at that time, because there was no Disney Hotstar at that time, it was just Star Plus. And even though it was the biggest television channel probably even at that time. But unfortunately at that time I remember Ruchi saying that I need 280 days of yours from 360 days. I said, are you kidding? I said yes on mostly everything. But I think my son was really small, just born kind of a thing. And I don't know, my calculation's always wrong. He's nearly 16 now. So yeah, he was like 4 or 5 years old. And I think when children are that small, I didn't feel like leaving, you know, because at that time, you know, 4, 5, the admission, school, nurseries just starting in kindergarten and stuff. And 280 days I just couldn't have given. And hence, I think that was the only reason that I didn't say yes at that time. Otherwise, everything was like perfect to go for. But nonetheless, it was something that was meant to be at the right time, on the right platform. And I think when stars are right, ultimately they just align themselves and bring you to a point where this is when it was meant to be.
So what was it about Indrani? Because I know she is nothing like you, but also there is something in her because she is a woman who looks out. She's looking out for herself. Like I've seen the show, she's looking out for herself. She's really not that bad. I'll ask the kids later about that. But what was it about her, you know, getting into her psyche? Could you relate to her or could you not? I think at some level we all can.
There were times that I could relate to her, but yes, there are a lot of actions of hers that, as you've seen, which I am completely the opposite. I would not want to say that would be a spoiler. I'll give you that example later. But like instances of what she can do or what she could do even to innocent people is something that I would not be able to do in personal life. And but the only thing that I completely identified with her is for my family, I can kill. I'm very clear on that. You know, you don't mess with my family. You do anything to me, come on to me. But the minute it comes onto my family, is something I can even kill.
Yeah.
So I have no qualms about that at all. And that could be initially, of course, that was for my parents. That is how I was as a child. That is how I am for my husband. And that is how I am for my children. That's how I am for my in-laws. My family is off the charts. Me, bring it face on. I'll take you on. So that's how I am.
And you don't mess around with Raveena Tandon either.
Okay, I was talking about Indrani. Hello.
Yeah, but you don't mess around with her either. You don't mess around with her either.
But yes, coming to that, yes, that like I said, that is what I relate to with Indrani.
Absolutely. Ruchi, what is this? First guilty and then karma. You have these like, you know, it's a natural progression, is it?
Well, I would like to think that from guilty, I'm going to guilty pleasures.
Wow. Not true that, but adapting this book, it's also in the Indian context. So what was the challenge? And it's obvious that she was your go-to person, and then otherwise 10 years later that you made it, then
No, she is my go-to person. Every time I start a new project or I'm thinking of a new story, I'll go, Ruchi, come and see na. And she, no, yaar, Ravs, I don't think I can do. So I was like, ठीक है, ये revenge का बदला है. कोई बात नहीं.
Well, I mean, honestly, when I saw the ABC Studio show, I just loved it, and I thought it is the ideal thing that should be brought to the Indian audience. Frankly speaking, because you've mentioned Guilty, most of my earlier work I've always done because I had something to say. Like I wanted to communicate something which I felt, and therefore I've woven stories around it. But this, I would say, is one of the first times I've really just been thinking, I want to serve this to the audience because I think it's delicious. And I think in the Indian context, when you adapt it to our culture, it'll be even more delicious.
I'm sure, because a lot of people are going to be sitting and saying, "Ye party kahan par hoti hai?" It's pretty interesting, and I like the delectables. Right? Coming to the two of you, the first question, working with the inimitable Raveena Tandon, who is now part of our, as I would say, pop culture, because, I mean, yahan par mention karna padega, it's like 3 decades and counting, which is still the same.
I think it was surreal for me, watching Raveena ma'am when I was growing up, to actually standing next to her in the same frame.
And playing her son.
Playing her son. It was just, no, I was really happy. I was very grateful for the fact that I can get to share the same screen space with Raveena ma'am. Felt great, felt amazing, and got to learn so much from her. That the fact that she's so humble, hardworking, after so many years of working, after winning so many, the biggest awards in India, and still bringing together all the actors as a team and making a show happen like that.
Yeah. That's actually, I often tell her, is a sign of security also.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, a mutual fan club for sure ho jayega. But you are at loggerheads with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So firstly, sinking your teeth into this character who's a double identity, and then taking on another person, because...
Yeah, I mean, it was nerve-wracking on many levels, because on its own, this character is a really challenging one to play, and I'm sort of starting out, and to know that Ruchi's trusted me with it and she feels like I can do it. Already I was feeling a little wobbly, and I was like, I hope I'm able to. And then, of course, when I met Raveena ma'am, not on set, we did a look test together and then many readings, but we met on the look test for the first time. And she knows the aura and the weight that she brings, because you obviously look up to her. But she's just so warm with you instantly, and and like Varun said, she's there to bring everybody together. She wants the scene to work, she wants the show to work. So that's how she operates. She's giving it 100% for everybody, to excel. So she doesn't let you feel that intimidation, because she knows that you're not going to be able to do your best if you're intimidated. So she puts you at ease, and it just, I know in the trailer it looks like we have to, be at loggerheads and stuff, but we were having the best time, and I was just learning throughout.
Awesome.
She's a ringleader, not only for the good part, but also the bad part. Because there's one scene that we were shooting at 4 in the morning. And it was so stressful. You haven't seen it yet, but it's it's a climactic scene in the last episode. And it's really serious. And Raveena has, for some reason, got the giggles for some line, and she's burst out laughing. Then one by one, all the others have started laughing. And at one point, I just screamed. I'm like, shut up! We have
Unleash
to
my
get
karma
this
on them.
scene,
First
this,
time
that.
we were yelled
Yeah,
at.
and we still couldn't. And then Raveena, everyone is sitting like this, and then Raveena, I'm like, action! And Raveena.
Wow.
It's like all of them just burst out laughing. I don't know how we finished that scene.
I think maybe it was also the fatigue and the stress कि ये show हो गया
We
है.
were crying.
I
She
can
was
laugh.
crying.
I was
We were
crying.
taking Varun's
Tears
shot.
trickling down
Yeah,
because they were
like-
laughing so
And I'm
much.
trying my best not to look at him like,
But no, hello, you also laughed, okay?
The character anyways hardly, smiles in the show. So I mean, we have to give him
We all had a great time.
We had
It's
the
just-
best time.
It's just sometimes when you're doing so many serious scenes,
Yeah.
that this you have to sometimes just let go for a while and then again come back to what you're doing.
But I think it
for
was
her,
an
the clock was
inconvenient
ticking.
Not at 4 a.m.
Not at 4 a.m.
Sona hai.
But Raveena, it's interesting. As we said, shades of grey. Also, yesterday, as I was just telling you, I heard Zeenat ji say something which you've also spoken about, that we got typecast, perception. So the layers and dimensions were not explored. But you have, in these 3 decades, managed to stay relevant. Has the process now changed, and do you feel that there were layers and dimensions that were not explored now that you've got the platform?
Well, initially, of course, when I started off, I was also young. I started off at 16 and a half. Likewise, I was hearing even she did her first ad when she was 16. So even I had actually already done a bit of ads when I was 16 and 17. And I think 17 and a half or 17 I was when Patthar Ke Phool started. And so for me, initially, it was very tough because I had not done any acting classes and, training or workshops. Nowadays, there's this whole norm of doing all these things and being prepared. An actor prepares kind of a thing to reach where they have. But for me, I said yes, and the next day I was shooting my film. It was exactly like that. So I had no clue. I learnt along the way. So for me at that time to even think of, no, I should be doing roles which are actually challenging, which is as an actor, I had no guidance at all. My parents never interfered in the films that I signed. So at that time for me and my manager at that time was ke, acha bada producer hai, bada director hai and bada hero hai, sign kar lo. So it was most of my early films, if you'll see, there'll be like 5-6 scenes and playing the rich spoiled brat, and we've spoken about this before. And all I had to do was go on set to set, and the only thing that changed was my costume. My dialogues were the same, my character was the same, my makeup was the same. Khali costume badlo aur hero alag hai bas. So it was that what I floated through initially. And then there was a time where in the late 90s, I had done about say 6-7 years of that non-stop, and I suddenly was there sitting one day. I remember we were shooting in Mauritius. I won't say which song. It was one super hit song.
Say.
It was Kahi Disco Mein Jaye. I remember what I was wearing. I was wearing my white dress, and it's like Chichi and My that step. No, was it? No, it was Mauritius. But what was that song? Yeah, matlab that one only. But it was something Tera Bhai something, and this step we are doing, and I was sitting there with a towel on this thing and with those ponytails, and I'm like, how long am I going to be doing this same thing all over again and again and again? And that suddenly hits you, I was like, that's it. After this, I'm just saying no to stuff like this. Yes, I'll enjoy doing my songs, I'll enjoy doing my comedies, but I have to now take a actual decision to say no to these kind of films and start looking for different stuff. And that's when Shool happened in and around that time. And I remember Dulhe Raja released and Shool released in the theatre. Then another Bade Miyan I was shooting for Bade Miyan Chote Miyan ka song, sorry, that one. And that was releasing, and a Satta was releasing. So that conscious effort to make that shift happen, it took me long to convince people. And then henceforth, I have always done that. I don't want to now ever repeat what I want to. And at that time, you get stereotyped because Ram Gopal Verma clearly told me when I was trying to do Shool, Zeenat ji is so right. The director was very convinced, Nivas, that I should be doing it. But Ramu was like, Raveena, I close my eyes and I can see you do Akhiyon se goli mare. This is exactly what he did. He said, I close my eyes and that's all I see you do. I said, no, Ramu. I said, just give it a shot, just see what happens. So it was so difficult to convince him. And when he saw me at the poster shoot, I mean, that's also a story. And he didn't recognize me. He walked past me when I was in that sari and stuff. And then suddenly he saw me, he said, oh my God, it's you. And I got that chance to do that. And I did Shool, and then after that, it kind of became easier because then people could accept you doing a Daman, a Shool, a Satta, a Ghulam-e-Mustafa. And then there was no looking back in me trying to experiment with the kind of roles that I want to do.
And OTT space mein, she's got a thing, chaska for thrillers now. First was
I
the fun.
love thrillers. I love watching thrillers, and I love fast-paced, good thrillers type.
And now coming to the two of you, Ahan, your character, I mean, one feels actually sorry for him. You know, one really, your heart goes out. So when Ahan came to you, was it like easy, or were you like, I mean, I can't relate to this guy, I mean, you need to speak up?
No. So I feel Ahan for me was very relatable because he just loves people in the first go ahead. He loves his family, loves his mother, loves his sister. And the only difference was that he wanted to break away from something, right? His heart said something else. And I think that was very interesting for me because when I was young, my dad wanted me to join the army.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll do it. But my heart said something else. So I said, probably with this character, I'll try to explore that side of me. So when Ruchi said, okay, we'll work on it, we sat for many days, we wrote the backstory, we dived into the character of Ahan. And I just felt at ease when that happened. I said, maybe there's Ahan in me that I can bring about and hopefully shape it in a way where people enjoy to watch him.
Yeah. So had that impact. I feel sorry for him amongst everyone, you know.
Also, you've only seen till episode 4.
Oh, okay. And was it nice to unleash that? Because you don't smile, you know, that angst.
Yeah, it was actually very hard. There were times where Ruchi had to remind me to stop looking like a nice person because it naturally to me, I'm very open and emotive, and so to kind of find that hardness, because she's been through so much that has led her here. Her life has not been very kind to her. So to kind of understand those emotions and get that internal heaviness and then to stay in it, because that's who she had to be through the whole show. It took a lot of emotional prep, again, a lot of backstories, a lot of discussions, a lot of workshops. Ruchi had kind of separated me from the entire cast for the first month.
I thought she thinks that we don't.
I thought nobody liked me.
No,
but then I learned
she doesn't like us.
Yeah, so I was kept in one room. I was sadly eating my lunch every day, and these guys were hanging out and
You were having
chilling.
too much fun.
They had too much fun, and I wanted to keep Namrata in another zone, so she was exiled.
I was exiled but then eventually when she felt like, okay, I've gotten it now, then she kind of let me go and have fun, and
The
then
only
it
time-
became...
All these guys they wouldn't go into their vans and all. They would sit on the set, including Raveena.
Yeah.
And they would all be chatting and all. And sometimes the first lady would be like, please move the actors, they're making too much noise.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, then you've got to watch the show. But, you know, Raveena, we've spoken about that. Their generation has so many options. And you also said it's easy. Your own child is making her debut. Are you worried? Because when you did, you came from a family that knew films, but you had no one guiding you.
No.
You were on your own. You bore the brickbats. I know you also said that you were one of the most misunderstood people because it was just how you were being you.
Yeah.
Now, do you worry for her, or is it something from your own page now you want to tell her ki beta ye tum mat karna, baki sab kuch theek hai?
You know, honestly, I think where my life has led me through mistakes and through being, again, honest and upfront as to what I am and I've been, and now it's too late to change me. I think it definitely has that path of destiny that I've followed and led me here. I don't think I would want to change anything in that, because I feel that it's almost like a parallel life, right? You change anything, you go back in time and change anything, I would probably not be sitting here talking to you at this moment and having what I have right now, touch wood, in my life. So with her as well, or with any of the children who come into our industry, even these new kids, I keep telling them, I keep talking to them sometimes, make your mistakes and learn from your mistakes. But that will be the hardest lesson you learn, and that'll kind of mold you or frame you as a person as to what you are. I think a lot of humility and a lot of intelligence comes from learning from your own mistakes rather than us protecting you from you making those mistakes. So I think it's very important for you to stumble and fall. Then only will you realize that you have the strength to get up and walk again. If I keep holding you before you fall, you're never going to learn.
Absolutely, because she was one of those few people who never had a chaperone on set. Because I remember, because I used to follow her.
Yeah.
She was like the
never had
trendsetter of her.
anyone guiding me. I had no godfathers. I was in no camp, nothing. In fact, I used to end up upsetting a lot of people because I would not know how to please people and be a people pleaser and stuff. And if honestly someone would ask me about something, I would say no. Honestly, I would give the answer, and I did bear the brunt for that for quite a while. But still, I'm happy where I am.
Absolutely.
So what
is the one thing about you, in you, that the other actresses of your generation didn't have, that made Raveena Tandon who she was?
No, honestly, I cannot say that because I do feel our generation was a bit different from what I feel is perceived nowadays. I think we were all very distinctively different looking.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a point.
That's true.
Tabu looked
Yeah,
very
yeah.
different from what I looked, and her prowess was different from what I had. Karishma was completely different looking from what I looked. Manisha looked completely again different, was in a different, softer, different kind of a zone from me.
Yeah.
I was the more dapak kind of a. So we all had distinctly different characters
that's true.
and uniqueness in our own. Which today again, if you see a Priyanka, you see Deepika, you see Alia, again they are uniquely different. So you cannot say, oh, Alia has what Deepika or this one doesn't have. Everyone has their own thing which they shine with. So not that I'm being diplomatic, I'm telling you honestly, this is what I feel. And you have to find that one X factor of yours that makes it work.
Absolutely.
For me, I think what worked for me was the fact that I experimented and I tried from playing a Bihari housewife to a Pahadi cop to playing a rich man's daughter to playing Indrani Kothari to playing a prime minister in KGF 2, which I think is a plus point for me, which everyone does not get a chance to play. That is where I think I kind of, audiences I'm grateful to who accepted and appreciated my different experimentation and roles.
Absolutely.
Or I did a Daman, where a lot of other actresses you see are very happy playing themselves in every role they get. They're playing themselves. They don't experiment as much. There are a lot of actresses you can't probably see playing a Pahadi cop or playing again distinctively suddenly a high society. So that's where I feel was my plus point, which was a conscious effort that I made to do.
और इस बारी तो ऐसा लग रहा है ग्रे साइड में ही डाल रहे हो KGF 2
KGF 2 में कहाँ मैं ग्रे साइड में थी?
थोड़ा सा शेड्स ऑफ
वो अभी 3 में देखो क्या होता है, फिर पता चलेगा.
Okay, now it's karma. Do you all believe in karma?
Yeah, absolutely.
और कर्मा से डर लगता है. कौन सा कर्मा सॉर्ट आउट करना चाहते हो? Karma calling. If you were to call up karma, what is the one thing that you would tell karma?
मेरे कर्म अच्छे हैं, मुझे थोड़े दूसरों के सॉर्ट आउट करने हैं, वो देखना है वो जस्टिस कब होता है. वो उसका मैं वेट कर रही हूँ. आई डोंट बिलीव कि इंस्टेंट जस्टिस होना चाहिए, लेकिन
No, I think it happens.
biting my lip because
I'm with you on that. I think it's our
लेकिन होना चाहिए.
generation. I agree with
Yesterday I
that.
said something like I'm waiting for them to burn in hell.
I'm with you on that. What about you all? Karma, see, we have got karma talwar here, so we can call karma.
No, I think that it most often sometimes you don't even know why something is happening, or you have to just be aware of your actions and hope that you're doing things with a pure intent and that will come back to you.
Unlike karma talwar.
I'm not that. I don't think I have it in me as me to go seeking revenge and bringing down 100 people. It's exhausting. I'd rather just sit at home, read a book, let the universe do its thing. I can't. It's
why
too
dirty
much.
your own hands?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Let them pay, for their own actions. Let the consequences come for their own actions.
Yeah.
What about you?
Guilty
Guilty and karma.
Yeah, I
Guilty as charged.
I definitely hope there is such a thing as karma. And frankly, now as one gets older, I feel there is. Like a lot of things, when we were younger, you feel much more hard done by, and you see the unfairness and it really stabs at you. And as you grow older, you see there is such a thing as poetic justice. As long as you keep yourself sane and on the path that you set out to be on and not get swayed by other people's actions and intent, karma does come calling.
I'm like Raveena, I'm waiting for karma to happen.
No, but I've
Yeah.
seen it
Yeah,
happen
yeah,
to
yeah.
people.
It
I've
happens.
seen it happen to people,
Yeah.
and I think it happens, justice happens in this life itself. It's
When
not
you
that
give
we are
up
waiting
thinking.
to die and go to
Yes.
hell or heaven.
Absolutely. Yes,
It
yes.
is here and here. It happens to you. It comes around right here.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the man who's among the women, because the women are leading the show.
मैं बहुत tempt हो रही हूँ तभी से करने के लिए. Sorry, but they'll edit and
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
हाँ जी बताओ.
proper.
I think if somebody has done bad to me, I would want a similar thing to happen to them. That's human. But would I do it? No. Because I don't want to be like them. Right? Well, the universe will handle it on its own.
Sure. Anyways, lovely chatting
मुझे
with you.
गाना याद आ गया.
कौन सा?
मेरी राम कली ने तेरे डरता हूँ लेकिन something तेरे भाई से डरता हूँ. That was that instant.
Perfect note to
I
end the
just
song.
remembered that.
You do realize your songs are like timeless. They are still being played in new movies and all.
I know, that's great
she,
actually.
her name is also in songs now.
Yeah.
That's
So
iconic.
many. I think I'm the only actor who has a maximum amount of names and
Yeah.
songs.
Raveena.
और उस टाइम बोलते थे क्या गाने गा रहे हो तुम लोग?
हाँ, seriously.
Anyways, thank you so much. Enjoyed
you.
the show, and let's see what happens next.
Yes, you
Yes,
better go
you
and
must,
finish it.
you must.
I am good. Thank you.
All right.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.